Saudi-Pakistan defense deal. This deal is very simple to understand. If someone initiates an attack against Saudi Arabia, Pakistan will consider that an attack on itself. The word is initiate, means starts. If someone initiates an attack against Pakistan, Saudi Arabia will consider that an attack on itself. And this is this defense deal. Collectively, they will attack this aggressor, or collectively, they will attack this aggressor. This is this mutual defense agreement. This is based on collective defense. And this was not something new, this was being discussed. This deal has a lot of significance. If I say the significance from Saudi Arabia's viewpoint, so Pakistan is the only Islamic country which is having access to nuclear weapons. Saudi Arabia will have access to those nuclear weapons in case of an attack on itself. Let's suppose by Israel, or let's suppose by Iran, because Saudi Arabia is having enemies in this, I would say, in these forms, the names which I took. And Pakistan wants to send a signal. This deal is significant for Pakistan from this viewpoint, that Pakistan wants to send a signal to countries like India, that the Islamic world is with me and I am gaining much prominence in the Islamic world, because today it is Saudi Arabia, tomorrow it can be UAE or Qatar or any other Sunni Islamic country in West Asia with which I can sign this deal. So, this is what significance this deal holds for both of them. And in return of this, the Ministry of External Affairs has issued a statement that we will study the implications of this development for our national security as well as for regional global stability. As of now, no concrete, I would say, reaction has come, and the government remains committed to protecting India's national interest and ensuring comprehensive national security in all domains. We were aware about this kind of deal because this kind of deal was being discussed since the 1970s. So, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia signed a mutual defense pact in Islamabad, September 18, 2025. Agreement contains a significant clause that any aggression against either country shall be considered an aggression against the both. And this is the first formal defense agreement between a nuclear armed country, that is Pakistan, and an Arab nation, that is Saudi Arabia. It was signed in the presence of Pakistani PM Shehbaz Sharif, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Pakistan's Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir, and it comes in the backdrop of Israel's strike on Qatar. So, Israel struck on Qatar, which is going to be our last topic for the day, and we will be studying this strike. And if Qatar is targeted, Saudi can also be targeted, and if Saudi is targeted by Israel, now Pakistan will have to be, retaliating to Israel as well. Key features: mutual defense clause. Any act of aggression on one country will be treated as aggression against the other. Focus on joint deterrence, counter-terrorism cooperation, military training and arms procurement, and expanded defense exercise and deployments. It also strengthens long-standing informal security relationship and converts it into a formal military alliance. It has kind of increased Pakistan's institutional presence in the West Asia. Historical context: 1960s, Pakistani troops deployed to Saudi Arabia during regional tensions, especially related to Egypt and Yemen. 1979, Pakistan Special Forces assisted Saudi security during the Grand Mosque seizure in Mecca. 1982, signed a bilateral security cooperation agreement enabling training of Saudi military by Pakistani personnel, deployment of Pakistani troops in Saudi Arabia when called upon. 2024-25, continued military exercises, arms sales and officer exchanges. February 2025, Joint Military Cooperation Committee met in Riyadh, paving the way for deeper defense collaboration. And here, finally, in September 2025, we have this deal signed, which is basically a deal based on the collective defense concept. Strategic implications for Pakistan: it is most consequential defense pact in decades for Pakistan. It strengthens Pakistan's position as a pan-Islamic security partner. It may allow Pakistan to procure US-made weapons using Saudi funding. Former diplomat Hussain Haqqani, Pakistan will now be able to buy US weapons with Saudi money because Saudi has the money, Pakistan does not have, and with this Pakistan will be able to procure the American arms. It helps Pakistan gain economic relief through Saudi investment. It will bolster its military capabilities without straining its own budget. Strategic implications for Saudi Arabia: it gains a nuclear armed ally amid regional instability, enhances deterrence against Iran, Yemen's Houthi militias, which are backed by Iran, Israel amid rising tensions post Qatar strike, and it reduces dependence on US military umbrella, which appears increasingly unreliable. So, Saudi Arabia was having this earlier, I would say, support of USA, which is now has turned in more and more inward looking and is kind of withdrawing. So, to fill that gap, Saudi Arabia feels that, these kind of deals will definitely help us. It signals Saudi Arabia's intention to assert strategic autonomy in regional security. Now, India's response: India has cautiously and diplomatically responded to such situation. MEA spokesperson Randir Jaiswal: we are aware that this development had been under consideration. We will study the implications for national security and regional global stability. So, nothing as such concrete has come out from India, but yes, we were aware about this. India is watching closely for any shifts in Saudi strategy or strategic priorities, particularly given Pakistan's nuclear status, shared border and history of conflict between India and Pakistan. Saudi Arabia-India relations, if I talk about, will these be impacted? Well, these can be impacted, no doubt about this fact. But if I talk about economic relations, bilateral trade, $42.98 billion, roughly $43 billion. Indian exports, $11.56 billion and imports, $31.42, means India is having a trade deficit, and mostly is crude oil imports from Saudi Arabia in this $31.42 billion. India is Saudi Arabia's second largest trading partner. Saudi Arabia is India's fifth largest trading partner. But yet, we have significant economic relations. High-level engagement has been done between both the countries from 2006, King Abdullah's visit, Delhi Declaration, 2010 PM Manmohan Singh visit, Riyadh Declaration, strategic partnership, 2016 PM Modi conferred King Abdulaziz Shah the kingdom's highest civilian honor. The ongoing cooperation in energy, investment, counter-terrorism and diaspora engagement has been witnessed among both these countries. And yes, can this be impacted? This, practically speaking, can be impacted, but Saudi is saying that it is not going to impact. And Saudi in the past has had a balanced approach. It condemned Pulwama attack in 2019, avoided criticism of India's Article 370 abrogation, which was a very big diplomatic victory for India. It did not condemn India's Balakot airstrikes. During Operation Sindoor, Saudi Arabia condemned the Pahalgam terror attacks as well. So, this was basically the scenario. Regional context: Israel's military strike in Qatar has caused regional security scare. Growing Iran-Saudi side tensions despite ongoing detent talks, means peace talks are going on, but still tensions are there. US security commitments in Middle East are perceived as weakening, especially after Trump's focus on Indo-Pacific and America First policies. NATO's shifting priorities. Saudi Arabia sees value in regional diversification of defense partnerships. Pakistan for manpower and nuclear umbrella, India for trade, technology and energy markets, China via economic corridors and diplomacy. So, this is how Saudi Arabia is reaching the world, but there are multiple challenges and risks like geopolitical balancing. Saudi Arabia must manage relations with India, Pakistan, Iran and Israel simultaneously, which is going to be not so easy. India's concerns: the pact could indirectly embolden Pakistan's military posture. Any Pakistan-Saudi joint activity in Kashmir context could trigger major diplomatic fallout. Iran's response may view the pact as a threat, especially given Iran-Pakistan border tensions. US reaction might welcome reduced burden in Gulf or may push back if the pact leads to destabilization. Now, this particular pact, the timing of this pact was actually significant. The sanctions waiver on India by US came just one day after this pact getting signed. So, is it an attempt to actually send a message to Iran or to India? That is a big question. Okay. So, these are the challenges and risks attached with this pact, and definitely this is going to change the landscape in some way or the other. It can impact India-Saudi relations. We are not too much bothered about India-Pakistan relations, but yes, India-Saudi relations can be impacted. But let's see how this deal proceeds further.